raise his own pay. Now he wants to raise taxes on middle-class families. Bob Abrams, hopelessly liberal.
Catwalk. Their dreams are just a beat away.
October 3rd at 8 on Channel 9.
It's mellow.
It is
kind of like this place.
It is very mellow, this place. I like it here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted you to come.
I'm stoned out of my mind. I haven't had anything. It's just the house. It just kind of...
Yeah, it gives you that kind of groove, as they say in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here with one of my favorite people, Burt Reynolds. Now, I have to tell you, you, to me, are one of the sexiest men in existence. When did I learn this, you may ask?
That was the next question.
I could tell. It was paused on your lips. It was ready to flow. Hawk.
Hawk? Oh, my gosh.
Now, for me...
You were 12.
Yeah, around.
9.
No, closer, over 12, I would say.
Yeah.
There's never been anything else like Hawk on television, as you did him. Now, why not? Because, honey, you hot. I mean, you hot now. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I love Eve McShane.
Well, I can still do my own stunts. I can fall. I just can't get up. But
that's like most of us.
Hawk was this kind of. You remember Ben Casey had that kind of.
Yes.
Hawk was like that. He had two expressions: mad and madder. You know. And he was an Indian. Whereas it wasn't. I didn't have a lot of laughs in that part. But I did all these stunts and wear this dark blue suit and I said, look, if you want me to play an Indian, I will play an Indian, but no feathers, and I'm not sticking my head to the ground and going, I think they're around the corner, you know. We'll play them, you know, just, you know. Right. So it was an incredible experience because we were the first show to shoot available light,
right.
16 millimeter, fast film, in the streets, no permits. So the funniest thing that ever happened was we had this marvelous guy named Wayne Grice, who was like my lieutenant sort of guy. And he was posing as a drunk on the ground because we were casing this place. And he was lying there, and a street bag lady, right? Came by and unfortunately sat on his face.
Ooh,
yeah.
In some circles,
and he didn't know where.
All right.
But see, he didn't know. His eyes were closed. He just knew that this isn't good, and we got her off of there before he died.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. These and other stories. Good stuff.
I like the idea of waking up like this.
The Whoopi Goldberg Show is brought to you by Be Our Guest at the Vacation Kingdom of the World, the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida.
Be our guest, put our magic to the test. Bring a heart that's full of wonder and make Disney do the rest. You're okay, just go, visit us and have a ball. The service here is never second best. Get set to laugh and sing, we thought of everything. So be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.
Walt Disney World invites you to be our guest. Call 407-WDisney.
Lindsay's liquid diet can cause awful messy leaks, but with her Pampers, she's as dry as can be.
Pampers Phases, the first developmental diapers for infants.
Pampers Phases has this special pocket back here, while this other leading diaper doesn't. Just look at all that protection. And with 2 infant sizes, she shouldn't ever be in between sizes.
Pampers Phases for newborns, infants, crawlers, and walkers. The first developmental diapers for dry and happy babies phase after phase.
With Ryder's 24-hour number, not only can you get everything you need to make your move easier.
Does Route 60 run through Phoenix? Thanks.
But you can call us with any other questions you have along the way. Oh, and if you rent a truck by November 7th, you get a free Domino's pizza delivered right to your new home.
My husband bought this clear stuff. Forget it. Sensitive doesn't cut it when I get to the pans. This is seriously disgusting. What's that clear stuff gonna do? Massage the pork grease off this pan? Come on. I know Dawn's the best for grease. Was, is, and always will be.
Dawn breaks up grease, takes it away, and helps keep it away from dishes and hands, proving no clear liquid performs like Dawn.
My Dawn's better at getting the grease. Are we clear on that?
Dawn takes grease out of your way.
When it becomes fashionable again. You know. So now I had to tell you that Hawk story because it just.
I'm really, it's unbelievably flattering that anybody remembers Hawk, first of all, because we were only on a very short time. But I'll tell you, I had just been fired from Universal.
What? Fired?
Fired, yes.
Somebody fired you?
Oh, a lot.
You want me to go get him? Who was it?
No, you know, they always say, you know, living well is the best revenge. The problem is, by the time you live well, they're dead.
Yes.
I mean, I finally got a lot of money. I went back to find this guy and tell him what a putz he was, and he was dead. There was no satisfaction. Anyway, I went to New York, and I was angry, you know, and I had tested for a show called The Long Hot Summer, and I thought, boy, if I'm right for anything, it's The Long Hot Summer, because I had about a quarter's worth of Southern accent still left, you know, and I did the test, and they got the word back from the guy who was then the president of ABC. I think his name was Kennedy, I think. And they said, he's not pretty enough. So I'm not going to tell you who got the part, but he's doing aspirin commercials. Now, he's real pretty, though. And I went to New York, and I was still angry, and I went for an interview for Hawk, and they said they were going to test me. So they tested me, and right in the middle of the test, I said, is the president of ABC going to see this? And they went, yeah. And I looked right in the camera, and I said, I'm not any cuter now than I was before, you. And then he looked at the test and went, I love this guy. He's got the right attitude.
Well,
Anger.
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, I get that, too. Well, you're just not...
Of course you do.
Well,
you know, what you do, though, I've never been able to figure out, because you're the only one that can do this. I have ashes all over me, like Phoenix, you know, because I have been in the ashes. But you do an Academy Award-winning performance. You go in the biggest commercial movie world, and then you do something, it's so bizarre, I don't know why you did it and how you did it, and then you're in another very strange thing, and then you're in something else. You're so generous with your time about everything, but career-wise, it's something that everybody would say, are you out of your mind?
And do,
you can't go and do that because you're going to be everywhere. And you say, I don't care, it's for children, or it's for this, it's for that. And you go, and you were the only one that bounced from television to movies, to television to movies, and did it brilliantly.
Outside of you.
No. I bounced from television to #1 in the world in the box office to number 128th in the box office. Like that. It was amazing. And then television. But I'm big in television.
You're huge in television.
Thank you very much.
But television is, as I was watching the other night, and I love the Alfred Hitchcocks. And I just happened to turn it on. And there you were.
There I was.
With some man looking for water. I said, look at Baby Burt. Because, you know, you're very distinctive, too. So it's not like anyone could say, well, that looks like, that was you.
Yeah. Well, I have this Neanderthal head, and you can't see my eyes. And I remember that show very well because Stuart Rosenberg, who is now a movie director, was directing it and was very smitten with the girl.
Right, the blonde.
Wow. who was married to one of the Everly brothers.
Ooh,
and
dish.
he was so smitten with her that the only direction I ever got from him was, please move out of the way. I can't see her. And that was all I got from him.
Have you always had this funny streak? I think you're one of the funnier people. Were you a funny kid?
Yeah, it was a defensive thing. I mean, I remember when I read Pat Conroy the first time, who I think is our Faulkner now.
Yeah.
Especially in The Prince of Tides. That was me. I mean, it was a guy who, if he wasn't funny, he'd kill you. Right. And I knew that if I didn't start getting funny, I was going to be electrocuted. You know, because I have a very short fuse. So what I did was I tried to learn to use my humor.
Right.
And people would be saying, you know, and I sort of said what I wanted to say, but hopefully it was,
right.
You know, and it really is the best way. And when you get old like me, it's not a good idea to hit guys named Rocky. You know?
Now, when I think of you, I think about all the films that you've done, and I think of how tides turn in the city, in this city, not necessarily in the rest of the country, but in this city.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they see what your potential was?
Because this city is, first of all, you're talking about a place where there is no Sam Goldwyn, there is no Selznick. There's a guy who used to be the president of Penny Shoes, who's now the president of the studio. And also, I find myself having meetings now and saying, well, it's kind of like the character's sort of like an Errol Flynn character. Right. And they go, who is that?
Yes.
And they don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And I remember one guy, Jason Bateman, who I love, this young kid, and I sort of have a whole, as I'm sure you do, a whole bunch of young actors who sort of come to my house and, you know, we talk and everything. He was one of my lads, and he said, I was talking about Clark Gable, and he said, I've never seen him. I said, okay, now, this Saturday, I'm going to get a copy of a movie, and you're going to see him. So I got a mint copy of Gone with the Wind. And you know that great introduction when he's at the bottom of the stairs and he looks up, and there's an audible gasp from the audience, you know? And he's looking, and I'm watching him out of the corner of my eye, and then it goes on a little bit, and he turns to me and says, he's very good.
But what do you do? You know, what do you do? You know they're only 6 years old. You
That's
know
right.
that they are. So
yeah,
you go
they don't remember that I ever did anything. The thing that they remember about, didn't he do a lot of car movies?
Yeah,
I think they think of me as sort of Mario Andretti with dialogue. They don't know about Deliverance.
Now,
or Starting Over.
Deliverance again? Could you make Deliverance today? If you brought that script to a
studio,
studio,
I can make it.
What do you think people... Could you do it as a studio picture, though?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because we're talking, John Borman and I were talking 2 days ago about Deliverance 2.
Ooh.
And basically, it's about these guys who are now 50 who have a lot of ghosts, and they go up there to go down the river. And I said, in fact, Ned, you know, Ned Beatty,
right,
who was very tortured about that film. That was his first movie. A lot of people don't realize that.
I didn't know that.
And he's been nominated for 2 Academy Awards since then. And people, when they walk up to him, they still say, "You're the guy that got boogered on that movie, aren't you?" And he doesn't want to be remembered that way.
No,
see?
no.
So I said to John, you know, the best thing for Ned would be if we went down the river and he boogered a guy.
We'll be right back.
When you're suspected of murder...
You think I killed my wife? Prove it.
There may be no chance to escape.
He's an innocent man unjustly accused.
But the mystery deepens.
He is an Iceman.
No clues.
He is a monster.
No answers.
I'm dropping the case.
It's my life. You can't.
What do you think?
He killed her.
Glenn Close and Jeff Bridges in Jagged Edge. Wednesday at 8 on Channel 9.
I think I'm the only man in the world being named after a bar, Harry's Bar in Venice. And my father, Giuseppe, opened for business in 1931. In all my life, all I know has been told to me by watching my father. He was a man that never gave importance to money. He gave importance to the customers, he gave importance to the business, because he knew that the money would come after that. My mother didn't agree very much, but there it was. We now have 2 restaurants in Venice and 2 restaurants in New York. My world ends at my door. I believe that people that appreciate a place like this are inclined to visit more places and to see more of the world. I think having a car, the world becomes smaller.
American Express is welcomed at Harry's Bar, and just about anywhere else Harry's been.
20 Jam City, and I'm the mayor.
Yo, fellas, how about a game of hoops? Hey, what? With you? No, with your mama. Mom?
This guy was good, but he was all dribble.
Say what? Come on, man.
Man, he deserved one of these.
Franchise, wanna call Bud? Solid.
He says he wants more good lovin'.
I'm just expecting what every, married man expects.
She says.
When you start expecting it, that's when you don't get it.
Now, what does his mother say?
I became aware when he was very young that he might be anal retentive.
It's the couple who couldn't say enough
Can I tell you something about her butt?
and said too much.
Why don't you tell everyone how old you were the first time you had sex?
Join Luca on the next That's Amore.
That's Amore, tomorrow at 5:30 on Channel 9.
Guests stay at the Century Plaza Hotel and Tower, offering the finest in luxury, service, and Southern California style. Near Beverly Hills on LA's fashionable west side, the Century Plaza Hotel and Tower.
Go
Now,
ahead.
you know what I would give to do that? I mean, I would give one deliverance and one starting over. I don't care. If I could play like that.
You love music, don't you?
I'm crazy for music. I always have been. Always have been.
Where's that come from? Is that
I
just...
think I had a rough relationship with my father. And in seeking a kind of refuge, I found it in, now you must remember I was raised in the South at a time that the South is, and I am, and they all should be horrified about, but it was a segregated time, and I would go to the black section of town, and there was a record store, and I'd get checker records, Johnny Ace, and some great, great records, and I would play them, for hours and hours and hours, and I remember Otis Redding, the first time that I met him, he was with a friend of mine.
Wait, you met Otis Redding?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. And Otis Redding said, it was the first time he was with this guy, see? And the guy said, they did the session, one take, he was out of there, and he kept calling the guy back, Buddy Killen. And he always called him by his, first and last. Buddy Killen, where's my record? He said, I'm just working. I'm adding some things to it. Next 2 days. Buddy Killen, where's my record? He said, I'm adding some things to it, Otis. And the third time he said, Buddy Killen, all my record needs is out. And they put it out, and it sold 1 million.
You and your dad, how did you sort of come around to resolving it? Or have you resolved it?
Yes, we have. We have. We just resolved it, actually. And thank God we resolved it before because I never knew my family. We were raised in a family that didn't cry, didn't laugh, didn't hug, didn't kiss. And I was Italian. in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
You know, it was like if you took, you know, Guido Puente and put him in the middle of all that.
Right.
You know, it was like I didn't belong there. And I was constantly going against the grain, constantly in trouble, and constantly seeking his approval. And then when he wouldn't give it to me, I'd say, okay, and I'd go out and get his disapproval, real big.
Right.
And I ran away from home so many times, jumped a freight train once, and I thought, I'll just jump off the freight train in the next town, and the next town went whoosh. And it didn't stop till it got to Allendale, South Carolina. So I got off in Allendale. I was 14, and they picked me up, and I said, my daddy's chief of police, and they called him, and my father said, leave him in the jail for 4 or 5 days, then handcuff him and put him on a bus. So I got on a bus, handcuffed. I didn't know where the keys were. Can you imagine people looking at you, you're handcuffed on a bus? And then I had to go get off the bus and go to my house and go, you know. And my mom answered the door, and I said, do I still live here? And she said, yeah. And I came in. It was tough, but just this last week, last 2 weeks, he's been here, and my mother just died. And they were married for 65 years, and you know how suddenly you sort of become the parent, you know? There's a need he has now. He never told me how proud of me he was about anything, but he told everybody else. But he told me this time. And I said to him, I just said, I'm just going to say it. And we were driving along, and I said, I love you, Dad. And he was looking straight out, and he went, which, if you slowed down on a record, would be, I love you, too. So if that's as good as it gets, I'll take it. And he kisses me now, which was a major victory because he didn't want nobody kissing him. You know? The funniest thing, I had Charles Nelson Riley, who is the funniest person, wonderful man.
Yes, yes.
Well, Charles makes no secret that he is, you know, a little flamboyant, right? But he smokes a pipe. So my dad thought he was swell, you know? So my dad is standing next to Charles. Charles got his pipe. And he said, you know, my boy brings in them queers around here. I shoot him dead and make a rug out of him. And Charles went, and about that time, a kid was leading my stallion by. And my dad said, that's the stud of the ranch there. And Charles said, really? Well, what's the horse's name? Now, the end of that story is he's crazy about Charles.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got past that, too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's sort of he realizes that there's a whole bunch of people out there that are wonderful, that are different than him.
Right.
But guess what? Some of them are a lot better than you.
Yeah.
And they're different, and they're smarter, but they, you know, it's all right.
Yeah. It has a lot to do, I would think, with that man thing, being a man.
That's all it had to do with it. He was in the cavalry. He was in World War II. He was decorated 2 Silver Stars, 2 Bronze Stars, 5 major battles. If he'd have stayed, which Patton wanted him to stay, he would have been a general. I was 7 years old before I saw him. So this man came home, and all the oxygen went out of the room, you know?
Right. Did he ever put his finger on you and say, now you're a man? You are a man. Stop trying to be a man because you are.
Yeah, but it was only a week ago.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, that's why I'm so mature on this show.
We'll be right back.
Kills germs just like it always did. It fights plaque and the gum disease gingivitis just like it always did. Now it does one thing it never did. Introducing Cool Mint Listerine. With an exhilarating, cool, minty taste. New Cool Mint Listerine Antiseptic like cool mint.
From Hollywood Pictures and Miramax Films.
I want them to know where they come from.
She gave them back their pride.
I like that.
She nurtured their courage.
I will fight too.
And she inspired them to believe in a better tomorrow.
The day is coming when we will all be free.
Whoopi Goldberg, Laletti Kamalo, Serafina.
Freedom is just the beginning.
Rated PG-13. Now playing in select cities. Starts Friday. Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure.
When dryness really counts, be sure to be dry. Sure Solid has the most effective wetness-fighting ingredient you can buy. For dryness no one can beat. So you're either sure or unsure. Sure. Unsure. Be sure to be dry.
Rush into Tower Records and touch down to super low prices on thousands of titles on sale now. Bryan Adams, The Big Chill soundtrack, Eric Clapton, Robert Cray, Melissa Etheridge, Marvin Gaye, Good Morning Vietnam soundtrack, John Cougar Mellencamp, Tears for Fears, U2. Enter to win an exciting trip for two to Super Bowl 27. You'll score big during the Touchdown to Tower sale now at Tower Records.
Some premium gasolines don't give you smooth performance during warm-up. Some don't give you the highest level of engine cleaning or a full 93 octane. But Exxon 93 Supreme gives you all three.
Let the tiger set you free.
For high performance, rely on Exxon Supreme.
Rely on the tiger.
On the next Whoopi Goldberg Show, Senator Al Gore. So, Mr. Quayle, when you coming on?
For perms only hair care, professionally formulated to maintain and style permed, colored, and chemically treated hair. Try for perms only. Television is comfortable, well-made basic sweats and t-shirts. Tultex, a new way of looking at clothes.
Today's X-Lax offers a gentle alternative. Extra gentle pills. X-Lax, for regular people who sometimes aren't. Use only as directed.
Thanks for coming and playing with me. I
love
appreciate it.
I love it.
All right. Good night. Yeah. Do you know these are called Whoopi roses?